The rain hammered against the large windows of Brew and Bean Café in downtown Faisalabad, turning the afternoon into a grey blur. Inside, every table was taken, students hunched over laptops, couples sharing umbrellas and lattes, office workers escaping the downpour. The air smelled of fresh espresso and wet coats. Sarah Ahmed, 32, stood near the door with her 5-year-old daughter, Aisha, clinging to her leg. Sarah's rain-soaked dupatta hung heavy, and her cheap plastic bag from the nearby bazaar sagged with a few vegetables and a half loaf of bread. She had come here not for luxury, but because the library where she usually waited out the rain was closed for renovations, and Aisha was shivering despite her thin sweater. Sarah scanned the room desperately. Her salary as a part-time seamstress barely covered rent and Aisha's school fees. Today, the landlord had left a curt note: pay by tomorrow or face eviction. She needed somewhere warm, somewhere to think, somewhere Aisha could color without freezing. Her eyes landed on a corner table occupied by a solitary man in a crisp charcoal suit. He looked mid-40s, impeccably groomed, silver threading his dark hair. A sleek laptop sat open before him, and a half-finished black coffee steamed beside it. The chair opposite was empty. Swallowing her pride, Sarah approached, Aisha trailing behind like a small shadow. "Excuse me, sir," she said softly in Urdu, then switched to careful English when he glanced up. "May we share your table? Just for a little while. Everywhere else is full, and my daughter is cold." The man looked up slowly. His eyes were sharp, almost cold, steel gray under thick brows. He studied her for a long moment, the frayed hem of her camise, Aisha's worn shoes, the way Sarah's hands trembled slightly. He didn't smile. "No," he said flatly. Sarah felt heat rise to her cheeks. She nodded quickly. "Sorry to bother you." She turned to leave, guiding Aisha toward the door, already calculating how far they could walk in the rain before finding shelter under an awning. But then his voice cut through the cafe hum. "Wait." She paused. He sighed, closing his laptop with a soft click. "Sit. But only if I pay for whatever you order." Sarah blinked. "Sir? You heard me." His tone was still clipped, almost annoyed. "Order something hot. For both of you. I'll cover it." She hesitated. Pride warred with necessity. Aisha tugged her sleeve. "Ami, I'm hungry." That settled it. "Thank you," Sarah murmured, guiding Aisha to the seat. She ordered cautiously, one chai for herself, hot chocolate and a plain paratha with butter for Aisha, nothing extravagant. The man said nothing more at first. He reopened his laptop and typed steadily, as if they weren't there. Sarah sipped her chai, grateful for the warmth spreading through her fingers. Aisha colored quietly on a napkin with a borrowed crayon from the counter. Minutes passed. The rain eased to a drizzle. Then Aisha, bold in the way only 5-year-olds can be, looked up at the stranger. "Uncle, why do you look sad?" Sarah froze. "Aisha." But the man stopped typing. He stared at the little girl as if seeing her for the first time. Something flickered in his expression, pain, raw and unguarded. He cleared his throat. "Do I?" Aisha nodded solemnly. "Your eyes are like when my Ami cries at night but thinks I don't see." Sarah's face burned. She reached for her daughter. "I'm so sorry." "No." He raised a hand. "She's right." He looked at Sarah then, really looked. "What's your name?" "Sarah Ahmed." "And hers?" "Aisha." He nodded once. "I'm Rehan Malik." The name meant nothing to Sarah at first. But then she noticed the subtle gold cufflinks shaped like a stylized M, the quiet authority in his posture. Rehan Malik, the owner of Malik Textiles, one of the largest garment exporters in Punjab. A billionaire by local standards, though he rarely appeared in public. Stories circulated: widower, no children, ruthless in business, generous in secret donations to orphanages. He didn't mention any of that. Instead, he asked quietly, "Why are you here in this weather?" Sarah considered lying. But exhaustion won. "My landlord gave notice. I need to find money by tomorrow. I was hoping to think here, where it's warm." Rayhan's jaw tightened. He glanced at Aisha, who was now dipping her paratha into hot chocolate with intense concentration. He pulled out his phone, typed a quick message, then set it down. "Finish your food," he said. "Then come with me." Sarah's heart lurched. "Sir, Not like that," he said sharply. "I own an apartment building nearby. One unit is empty. It's furnished. You and your daughter can stay there tonight, no rent until you sort things out." She stared. "Why would you?" "Because your daughter reminded me of someone." His voice cracked, just slightly. "My wife. She died 7 years ago. Leukemia. We tried everything. She was pregnant when diagnosed. The baby didn't make it either." Silence stretched between them. "I built my empire after that," he continued, quieter. "Work became everything. No time for anything else. No family. No warmth. I come here every Thursday, her favorite day, order her usual black coffee, and pretend she's across from me." He looked at Aisha again. "But today, you sat here. And she spoke to me like a child should speak to an adult. Without fear." Sarah's eyes filled. "I'm sorry for your loss." He shook his head. "Don't be. Today reminded me I'm still alive." He stood, leaving cash on the table, far more than the bill. "The address is on this card. The doorman knows you're coming. No strings. Just, stay warm tonight." Sarah took the card with trembling fingers. "Thank you, Mr. Malik." "Rayhan," he corrected. Then, almost as an afterthought, "And tomorrow, come to my office. 9 a.m. I need a designer for a new children's line. Someone with real heart. Bring samples if you have any." Sarah had sketches, dozens of them, hidden in notebooks because she never believed anyone would care. Designs inspired by Aisha's laughter, by the bright dupattas her mother once wore. She nodded, unable to speak. As they left the café, Aisha waved at the tall man still standing by the table. "Bye, Uncle Rayhan." He lifted a hand, the first real smile Sarah had seen on his face. The apartment was modest but clean, 2 bedrooms, a small kitchen, heat that actually worked. Sarah cried herself to sleep that night, not from despair, but from the sudden weight of possibility. The next morning, she arrived at Malik Textiles with a folder of sketches. Rayhan's assistant ushered her in without question. He looked different in daylight, less cold, more human. They talked for hours. He listened to her ideas, asked sharp questions, then nodded. "You're hired," he said simply. "Full-time. Benefits. Starting salary triple what you're making now. And the apartment, yours as long as you need it. Company housing perk." Sarah protested. "This is too much." "No," he replied. "It's exactly enough. You reminded me what matters. Let me do the same for you." Over the months that followed, the miracle unfolded quietly. Sarah's designs became the foundation of Malik Textiles' new affordable children's wear line, bright, modest, durable pieces that sold out in weeks. She earned enough to pay off debts, enroll Aisha in a better school, even save for a small home. Rayhan didn't sweep in like a fairy tale prince. He remained distant at first, professional. But slowly, he began appearing at school events, bringing Aisha ice cream, teaching her chess on weekends. He never pushed. He simply showed up. One evening, 6 months later, as rain pattered against the windows again, this time from inside a warm home. Rayhan sat across from Sarah at her kitchen table. Aisha was asleep in the next room. "I was wrong that day," he said quietly. Sarah tilted her head. "About what?" "When you asked to share the table. I said no at first. Cold. Because letting someone in felt like betraying her memory." He reached across, covering her hand with his. "But you and Aisha didn't ask for my money or my name. You just asked for a seat. And in giving it, I found mine again." Tears slipped down Sarah's cheeks. He smiled softly. "Will you let me stay? Not as a savior. Just, as family?" She turned her hand, lacing her fingers through his. "Yes," she whispered. Outside, the rain continued, washing the city clean. Inside, a small table held 3 cups of chai, 2 adults, 1 child dreaming nearby. What everyone missed, what the world walking past the cafe never saw, was that the coldest reply wasn't rejection. It was the beginning of healing. A single mom asked to share a table. A grieving man said no. Then yes. And in that small shift, 2 broken lives found a way to become whole, together.